Okay, 7th grade. Welcome back to art class. So we're working on our project inspired by the artist Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse was a French artist, and he did a few different types of artwork, but one that he is very famous for, some people call painting with paper. He got really sick at one point in his life, and instead of painting with actual paint, he painted paper and then cut it out, and he had the help of an assistant for the painting of the paper. He cut out the paper in different shapes and created art with those shapes. So we are going to be doing our Henri Matisse inspired self-portrait. Last week we worked on our facial feature placement portrait, where we just drew a self-portrait just so we could learn the basic facial feature placement, where our eyes, nose, mouth go, how to make the basic shape of our hair. Remember, I said this is very loose and basic, not a super detailed self-portrait, because today we're going to start our collage. Remember that a collage is a piece of artwork made by pasting a bunch of different things together, or different pieces of paper, different images, that kind of thing. So we are going to use construction paper and glue to create our self-portrait here. The first thing we're going to do is work on our background. Here you can see I have some of these organic shapes. Henri Matisse was very famous for creating art with very abstract pieces, shapes like these. Some of his famous iconic images include pieces that look like this kelp or seaweed, some squiggly things like this, and this kind of heart-shaped leaf. So we can use any of these images, or we can make our own. For the squiggly things, I just basically drawing a block letter or a bubble letter squiggle. For these pieces that look kind of like kelp, you just kind of trace around like that, and then you cut it out. And then for these leaves, I draw a heart. This is an upside down heart, and then a stem, and then I cut out that shape, and it creates that leaf shape. So these are just a few pieces of paper that kind of look like Henri Matisse inspired shapes. Finally, one other shape I like to do is these squiggles or swirls. And there's a few ways to do that. One of them is to actually just draw a really fat squiggle and then make it double-sided, double-lined. And then you would cut out along both sides of that, and you get that squiggle. That's one way to do it. So you can absolutely do that. You can also make them like a square squiggle. Cut out like that. Those are both really cool elements to add to your background. So the way you're going to construct your background is by creating some of those pieces. Take your large background paper. This is a big 12-inch by 18-inch piece of construction paper, whatever color you choose. And then you're going to take your shapes and you're going to arrange them on the piece. What you need to remember, however, is that your head and shoulders and hair is going to fill up a lot of this piece. So you want your background shapes to just skirt the edges. You don't want them to all be right here, because then your head is going to cover them all. So I have these shapes that I created, and I'm just going to make them come around the background here to give it that Henri Matisse inspired look. Now they can be all the same color, they can be different colors, whatever you choose. I chose a purple background and yellow shapes because purple and yellow are contrasting colors, complementary colors. And so they really look great when they're used against each other. They really make things go pow. So I chose those as my colors. So you would paste them down in the arrangement that you like, and that is your background. It might take you a week or two to really get some shapes that you enjoy and to arrange them. And please remember that your head and shoulders are going to be right here in the middle, which is why I left this place empty. As you can see in this piece, I didn't really think too much about where my head and hair was gonna be, and most of my cool shapes are covered. So if I had to do this again, I would move them out a little bit further, higher, fill in this space here. And that way I would get a much better composition. So have fun creating your background. You can do organic Matisse inspired shapes like these, or you can come up with some of your own shapes.